are you ready? Windies in the land of put up your hand.
Well, not for the first time, the West Indies will have to bat their way out of trouble if they want to at least draw this test match. Of course, it's the second test in Jamaica. The Windies in a spot of bother after day 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to On Tour as we look back at that West Indies versus Pakistan series. The Windies 1-0 up in the series, a whole day lost to bad weather, wet outfield on day 2. But day 3 was somewhat action-packed. Let's have a look at the scorecard. Pakistan resuming on 212 for 4, eventually declared on 302 for 9, not before Fawad Lam got his 5th test century, 124 not out from the 35-year-old from Karachi, 213 minutes and he faced, of course, 275 balls, 17 fours he struck, very well batted to him. He had some good support from Mohammad Rizwan, 31, Fahim Ashraf, 26, and then Shaheen Afridi, a very crucial 19 in the end. The wickets were split between Kemar Roach and Jaden Seals. They had 3 apiece, and Jason Holder, he had 2 for 46. But then the Windies, when they went to bat, by goodness me. Craig Bradford and Kieran Powell, early wickets, Powell for 5, Bradford for 4, and then Roston Chase a bit later on for 10. It has left Nkrumah Bonner on 18, and Azari Joseph, the night watchman, has faced 16 balls, and he is yet to score. So the Windies are behind in this test match. They trail by some 263 runs, and they still have 2 days left, which means essentially once there is play, which will start early on day 4, they have a lot of batting to do. Let's go straight to the panel. We've got Sir Clive Lloyd is back with us, the legend himself, the former West Indies and Guyana captain, of course, an outstanding batsman, and Tino Best, they're, of course, the former West Indies and Barbados fast bowler. Gentlemen, so great to have you. So, Clive, take me into the dressing room. What is the coach, what is the captain going to be telling those batsmen about what they have to do going into day number 4?
Tell them that they have to bat all day tomorrow, because if they bat and they get very close to their score, the game should be a drawn game. I was quite happy with the way they bowled today. They restricted them. I thought probably they probably made about 350, but it was a good performance by the West Indian bowlers. And unfortunately, when we batted, we lost those 3 quick wickets. But second and the third day in Jamaica is always good it's always good for batting. And I don't see any sort of, terrors in the pitch as such. So it's a way of applying themselves. And our middle order has got to come good in this innings. But it's poised to be quite an interesting 2 days left. If the West Indies really don't get to a pretty good score in the first innings.
Tino Best, how do you see it?
Well, it's interestingly poised. West Indies obviously 3 down, Barry. Disappointing from the openers, but look, that is cricket. You got to move on and put that behind you. But I thought the West Indies executed their bowling fairly well. I'm going to give them a passing grade. I give them 7.5 out of 10, Barry. I think that they were patient. I thought that they stuck to the task and they bowled good lines and good lengths. This is cricket. Fawad batted beautifully. You can't take that away from him. He's very unorthodox, but he is very good. He's very competent. 5 test centuries already. He has the record now for the fewest innings to get 5 test centuries from an Asian batsman. And you've got to commend that. That is brilliant stuff. But all in all, I thought the West Indies bowled well. 300, I was saying 270. But that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. But the way we batted this afternoon, obviously, very disappointing. Powell, look, as I said, I would have gone in with a sheer hope. I don't think that he could have done any worse than what Powell was giving us. I don't think Powell is lining up the ball properly, Barry. Sir Clive is a left-hand batsman. Sir Clive is watching the cricket. He can give you an assessment of how a left-hander should be lining up the ball. But for me, I don't think he's lining up the ball. And as an opening bowler, you love to see that. You're just going to run up and just bowl basic deliveries. Afridi is just bowling wicket to wicket at Powell. And he's missing straight balls, Barry. But at the end of the day, the batting coach of the West Indies got to sort out that batting, I don't know what time he has to do it, but really and truly, I think that we are slightly behind the eight ball somewhat.
Before we, of course, get into the game like we have, we must mention that cricket started in a very bizarre fashion. They actually came out about a couple hours after when they were supposed to start because of the wet outfield. But they actually went back in because Jason Holder had complained about the run-up, and the other players had expressed their disbelief with how the conditions were. So, Clive, I'm going to ask you about Fahad Alam, but before I get to that, what are your thoughts about pitches, not pitches, grounds being handed over, and the umpires perhaps making sure that the conditions and the facilities are what the players would expect. Your thoughts on what happened before play actually really got into its meat of the matter?
Well, I must say, Barry, I'm dealing with something that I think we've been playing cricket now for 90 years or more, somewhere around there. And we still can't get things right. Our groundsmen don't have any uniform. I remember they had to run and get raincoats for them in Jamaica years ago. We're still stomping on sponges to remove the water. I remember years ago when I was involved as manager, and I spoke to a president, and I said, listen, we need a super stopper in every island that we are going to play Test cricket, because it will get rid of the surface water and we'll be able to play immediately because the water, we have a better draining system. And he told me, when are you going to use it? And the next Test match in Trinidad, it rained like rains of Ranchipur. And we were found wanting again. We haven't learned anything. I don't understand how we still cannot get surface water, water off the ground. In Sri Lanka, they cover the whole ground. The whole ground is covered. It's like done in an army fashion. And once the rain is over, they remove the covers position style, and they play cricket. And we can't do that. And we have very hot sun. We're losing, a lot of time in this day and age. And I'm very, very disappointed with whoever is in charge of the ground, that a bowler's got to come and tell you that the run-ups. That's what the first thing you cover, the run-ups and the pitch. And then you look at the surrounds. God, because if the bowler cannot run up, it's obvious that, it will delay play. And I know we are in front, but we still want to win a game. And that we must play to win every game. So I'm really disappointed in that respect.
Now to Fahad Alam. Yeah.
I thought he's got a very funny style of playing, but it's obvious he's worked things out, because they have 5 Test matches in 5 different countries. It's obvious he knows how to bat. And that is what I am expecting our young players to do, to watch other people, learn from them. Batting, and, it doesn't matter how many balls you face, you're still there. In the end, you will be the winner because you will get the pace of the pitch. You're picking the ball up much better. I think these are the learning curves that these are things that we need to inculcate all our youngsters. And I spoke to the under-19 guys the other day, and I hope that they're watching, because they can learn a lot from watching other people, not only our own.
Oh, well said. Very well said, Sir Clive. Look, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to look very carefully at the batting of Craig Brathwaite, also Kieran Powell, and so far how Roston Chase has been getting out, especially to the same bowler over and over. When we come back on tour on FlowSports.
It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up. Time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up.
So welcome back to On Tour then. The West Indies struggling on 39 for 3 in response to 302 for 9 declared by the Pakistan side. Tino, let's talk West Indies batting. As opening fast bowler, you obviously would have had to deliver quite some time to openers who, like Craig Brathwaite, tend to be very, very defensive against the wicket. But when you look at Craig Brathwaite, what does he seem to be doing wrong? Because despite that century that he got a couple of innings ago, in between that, he's had some very patchy scores. What is he doing wrong, Tino, as a fast bowler? How has he been worked out?
Look, Afridi's looking to bring back the ball into Craig. I thought before he got bowled on, I thought he looked a little bit more enterprising. He was opening up a little bit too much. And as a fast bowler that's bringing the ball back into to Craig Brathwaite, you want to see him batting like that. I don't think that they were tight enough. And he as the main opener, the guy that the Pakistanis would be looking to get out. I thought he was a little bit too loose, Barry, and it cost him his wicket. But Powell, no, I don't think Powell is lining up the ball at all. I follow Toby Radford a lot. They're the former West Indies batting coach. And he does assessments on laying up batsmen head with his feet. And he always drawing conclusions to the Barbara Azam, the Kane Williamson, the Joe Roots. And he puts them on his social media. And our batsmen aren't lining up like that. And they need to follow Toby. They need someone like Toby around. Even if we know the West Indies got a batting coach, but you can still message Toby and get some tips on batting. I think that's where our cricket is falling down. You got to tap into the right people to get the right information to execute as a cricketer. And I don't think that our batsmen are doing that. Because if Kieran Paul is opening our batting, Barry, and he looks that way, oh man, he's just a walking wicket. So that's disappointing to look on as a fan of West Indies cricket and a fan of being an opening bowler and seeing all types of opening batsmen. Powell is not letting up the ball. Craig Brathwaite was way too loose this evening, and that's where they lost the wickets. That's the truth.
What about Roston Chase? He seems to be getting out to this bowler all the time.
Look, I thought today's delivery was a very good delivery. I thought Roston, from 0 to 10, I thought he looked solid. He played a pull shot. He played a straight drive. So, wow. Roston, as we call him, the realist G. I thought the realist G was going to score some runs today. And then, I mean, look, it was a piece of a delivery. But you got to expect those deliveries. It's the bowler first delivery. You got to be your tightest to see what he's doing with the ball. And to get bowled like that, I mean, it's unfortunate. You got to go back and look to assess. But I thought those first 10 runs that he scored today, he looked a lot better, Barry. That's the honest truth. It's just so unfortunate that he got out. But West Indies got a lot of batting to do this morning. And they have to put them heads down and they have to bat. They have to bat Pakistan out the game.
So, Clyde, would you be tempted to just tinker with that batting order a little bit in this particular innings and perhaps for the second innings as well? And when I actually about tempted to tinker, I'm talking about perhaps promoting Jason Holder up the order and perhaps dropping Mears, who has not been scoring any runs. Your thoughts on perhaps tinkering with the batting lineup?
Yes, I don't think you want to be tinkering with your batting order too much. If you're doing well, you probably would want to promote Jason because of the height situation. And that helps. That helps if he's batting with a shorter guy. But if they're doing well, and I think I'm very impressed, Bonner looks good, and I hope that he continues in that vein. He looks confident, and it's unfortunate that young Chase got out. But the point is that once they look, very competent. They look good. But the problem with today's cricket is that we don't have a lot of games outside of test matches for the people to regain their form. You've got to try and regain your form by batting in the nets and in test matches. So you're learning on the job. And I think it's a bit unfortunate at the moment, and we'll have to persevere with some of these guys when we have a much better system in place. But if they can really bat, if Bonner can stay there for a while, because he scores well, he's very competent, and he's doing a good job. And if they can just get a couple of partnerships, they can get pretty close to Pakistan's score. If we draw this game, then we've won the series, and it's got to be good for our cricket and our cricketers.
All right, you're watching On Tour. When we come back, we're going to hear from Jason Holder, get his thoughts on the day's play, and we also hear from the century maker, Fawad Alam. Don't move a muscle. You're watching On Tour on FlowSports.
It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up. It's time to jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land of put up.
So welcome back then. The man of the moment, of course, on day 3 was Fawad Alam, his 5th Test century. Let's hear from him, and then we'll go to hear straight to Jason Holder.
Forward, if we can reflect on day 1, your team in a perilous position, 3 wickets for 2 runs, a partnership needed, swelter and heat. How challenging was that?
It was challenging. The condition wasn't easy on day 1, and the heat, humid, hot, everything, and we to 3 for 2. 2 for 3 actually. So we need to come back in this test match. We have to build partnership. So what exactly me and Bauer did on the first day.
And a brilliant unbeaten century, your 5th Test match century, 5 centuries in 5 different countries. How do you rate this one?
I think I'm very happy right now, and whenever you score a century for your country, you feel proud. What exactly I'm feeling right now.
One of the standouts of the day was that celebration. Fawad, tell us a little bit about that celebration.
Like my stars, yeah. Actually it is a character in a Turkish serial. It's named Artagul Ghazi. He celebrated his victory like this, and so he's come from this. It's only difference between me and him. He got his horse, and I got my bat.
How much heart do the West Indies take, given that Pakistan themselves were 3 for 2 in the first innings and went on to get 300?
Yeah, it's that kind of wicket. I think it's a new ball wicket. I think if you could get past the new ball with little damage, it's a very good track to bat on. Fawad obviously showed us how to apply ourselves. He was very, very patient. That partnership with him and Babar Azam was quite crucial for them. They just showed us how to go about it. In these kind of situations, trying to see off a day becomes quite tricky, for batters. And the new ball will definitely come in these kind of conditions. So I expect tomorrow when the sun comes out and and if everything is pretty much even, everything should level off and settle down.
What were the issues for you personally coming through that area?
Yeah, it was quite wet still. There was a lot of sawdust there, but for me the surface of the actual problem was just quite too unstable. When I walked through it, I particularly could just obviously feel the ground shifting, and then to run through it was very, very hard. I think my initial concern was not really up front. But if I go through it 2 and 3 overs into it, I could have been very, very tacked on the hammies and, into the calves as well too. So as I ran wider, I think it was my 2nd or 3rd ball, I ran really, really wide. And that was a lot easier. The surface wasn't as
it was easier underfoot.
It was easier on the foot. The surface at the top, wasn't as loose. The top of it straighter on was very, very loose and unstable in my opinion, but all of it was quite wet. But that actual area wider, actually stood together a little firmer.
I just want to touch on that because coming in from such an acute angle, what are the challenges that poses for any bowler having to adjust what is not natural to you?
For me personally, it's not too hard. I think the angle that I wanted to approach, especially left-hander, would have helped coming from really wide, But primarily to the right-handers, I definitely don't want to be coming from so wide. It takes a bit of definitely out the equation. But for me, I wanted to go across the left-handers. For me, it was a better angle. But I knew consistently I couldn't bowl a whole spell just running wide from there. I would still like to use the crease as much as possible because that's the way, I approach my bowling. So it was disadvantageous at that stage, and I just felt it was a situation where we had to, make a tough call. But I don't think it was fit enough to start.
The wickets that you took eventually when play restarted, how did you feel about it as we look at it now? What was your planning?
Well, I was just trying to be as consistent as I possibly can. The new ball came, it was a harder ball. I felt the older ball was quite soft, and I didn't have that zipped off the wicket. For me, I need everything I can possibly get, And for me, I just wanted to keep Reese run quite tight. For me, I want to be a little aggressive up front to the left hand. That was actually supposed to be a short ball, but it didn't get up the way we wanted it to get up. But, it did enough, to take the edge. And that's how cricket is played sometimes, Sometimes things go to plan, sometimes things don't go to plan. But generally, I thought I was pretty happy with the way he bowled. Quite consistent as usual, but, I wanted 1 or 2 more wickets up front, which would have helped us. But it didn't happen. But overall, I felt we controlled the game quite well.
So this grouping that we've seen here to right and now to left-handers are satisfied with how they've been strung together?
Yeah, always happy in that sense. I mean, honestly, I don't feel as though my rhythm is 100% there. Still feel as though, and I felt it's more in the run-up than anything else. Sometimes I feel as though I'm trying to get to the crease. Sometimes I feel like pulling back to get to on approach to the crease. But more or less, I just try to fight through it. The team requires something from me, and I just try to put up my hand and do a job. I'm not one to really complain and fuss too much, but more or less whatever the captain wants, and I'm there to deliver.
All right, excellent stuff. We look forward to see what the West Indies have to offer then on day 4. Let's go to Tino Best, his last impression before we go to live action. Tino, once the weather is good, and we're hoping it will be, your thoughts on what the West Indies should be doing now with Bonner and Joseph, who can definitely bat?
I think the first 30 minutes of the 4th day, this morning session is very important. West Indies need to get through that. The ball is still basically brand new still. So they got to get through that first 30 to 45 minutes. If they get through that without losing any wickets, I think that they stand a good chance of batting deep into today, for sure. Bonner, I'm going to be optimistic. I would love to see him get 100 just to build his confidence. But whoever gets the responsibility to bat have to understand that there's no one after them. It is their job to stay out there and make runs for the team. And I think if they're going with that mindset, I think West Indies gets over 300 tomorrow. And put this game to bed. Bat Pakistan out the game. I think that will be the sentiments from the coach and the captain starting this morning.
So, Clive, 98 overs in the day. That's a lot of overs. The West Indies have really got to knuckle down. Your thoughts?
Yes, well, the point is that if they, the first hour now you have, if they can if they could avoid losing a wicket in the first hour, I think it would be good for them, because that means that they would have got probably over 60 really runs on the board. And Alzari is a pretty competent player, and I'm sure he's not going to give his wicket away. But if they lose a wicket, that means you lost 4 wickets, and it will give the Pakistanis some impetus to try and see if they can get into the middle. But the West Indies must try their utmost to bat at least, to the new ball. If they bat to the new ball, they'll be very close to the Pakistani score. And the Pakistanis will have to bat again, and hopefully that they wouldn't have enough time to bowl us out. We really have to look at it in that respect. We one up. We want to, we'd love to win the game, but because of the inclement weather, we are, things were against us. But they have a chance now to bat, as the old saying goes, until the cows come home.
Well, no cows here on FlowSports Just Cricket. Thank you so much to Clive. Thank you, Tino Best. Gentlemen, we've been on tour. We hope to have much more highlights for you on day 4. Until then, it's bye-bye for now.
West Indies.
We are the West Indies.
That's right.
We are the West Indies.
Turn it up to the top. It's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land.